Bite-Size PL, professional learning you can consume during lunch or on a dog walk, or while you shovel snow for the second or even third time
of the day.
Yes. Our goal is to provide meaningful, engaging, and brief conversations for educators. I'm Jared, and my co-host today is Jenette.
Hi, Jared.
Hi, Jenette. And our guest today is Shaunna Fuller, who is a counselor at Bolton and Oak Hills Elementary Schools and leads the Learning to Breathe program at Bolton.
That's right.
Well, Shaunna, we're so happy to have you here because I got to tell you, when I first heard Learning to Breathe, and I was told about it, I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. We got these breathing exercises for kids, and I kind of want to see that. And then I heard that the sessions were like a half hour, and I'm just thinking about what breathing exercises are they doing for a half hour? That seems excessive to me. So I really want to see how effective these are. And then I found out that there's a whole lot more to it than just breathing. And so why don't you explain what Learning to Breathe is and how you came into this position?
Okay. Well, the Learning to Breathe program is a mindfulness curriculum that's geared toward adolescents. So we can teach it as young as 5th grade, but all the way up to high school. And it is a well-researched prevention that can enhance emotion regulation. It strengthens executive functioning by strengthening attention and performance and builds stress management skills. Also supports pro-social behaviors. So the program was developed by Patricia Broderick, and then it was introduced to us here at Davis School District by Davis Behavioral Health. And the district and DBH have partnered together to bring this to our 6th graders this year. So I've been teaching it as a school counselor. I, several years ago, was able to take the MBSR, so mindfulness-based stress reduction class through Davis Behavioral Health. And I noticed a change in my life, in my own ability to reduce stress and to manage my emotions. And so when I found out last year at our R&R conference that Davis Behavioral Health was training teachers to go in to teach this to the classes in our district, I was on board. So it was a 3-day training that I did through Davis Behavioral Health. And now I am trained to teach Learning to Breathe in the classroom. Breathe is an acronym. So the B is for the body. And that's the first thing that we learn in Learning to Breathe is listening to our body, because our bodies are trying to tell us something. We just start really basic there by just becoming aware of our breath and then also the sensations in our body. We do some mindful eating, we do some mindful listening, and it's really fun. The R is for reflections or thoughts. So we learn that thoughts are just thoughts, and we can handle our thoughts mindfully. We don't have to believe everything that we think. You can imagine that is a really amazing concept, especially for adolescents, right? E is for emotions. We learn to surf the waves of our emotions. We kind of find out that we try and cover up a lot of times our unpleasant emotions, but we learn that we can experience all of our emotions, that our emotions are not good or bad, but they can be pleasant or unpleasant. And we notice that they rise and fall like waves.
Well, isn't that the truth?
Right? And there's a point where it doesn't stay at a high level forever. It calms down no matter what that emotion is. T is for tenderness. And this is learning to be kind to yourself and learning to be kind to others. So in this section, we learn how the adolescent brain is changing. And especially right here in adolescence, it's a critical period where new connections are being made in the brain. We strengthen whatever it is that we are practicing. So we ask ourselves, are we practicing meanness or are we practicing kindness? And then we discover, well, we can practice kindness, we can cultivate strength, we practice compassion for others and for ourselves. The H is for healthy habits of mind. So we can find ways of being mindful in our daily lives, Paying attention to the inside and to the outside gives us the inner edge. And then the final E, it's for empowerment. So mindfulness helps us to gain the inner edge. It helps us to be empowered. It builds our inner strength and it builds resilience. And who doesn't need resilience, right? And especially in adolescence.
Well, it sounds like we need everybody in the United States, at least, to take this program. Like we could all,
I agree.
We could all use the everything in there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times we throw out the word empowerment when we talk when we're in education. And I don't know that everything actually does empower students, but in this case it does. Mm-hmm. Like you're giving kids the skills to manage their emotions, for self-regulate, to be resilient, to just realize thoughts are thoughts sometimes, and that is empowering. And understanding like what are the triggers that that maybe get me excited or animated a little more than I want to be, and how can I bring that down and manage my stress and anxiety. So, and to me, that is empowering. And so I think that that's fantastic that we have this in the schools and right now, especially in the sixth grade. Mm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the stage for our listening audience. And Shaunna is actually going to walk us through like the very first relaxation exercise that she does. But when I came into the session, this is what I noticed is there's mats out and there's even a little pillow for the students, and they just come in and all of them just like lie down or sit down and they get relaxed. And then you guide them through this first relaxation exercise. And then we're going to invite our audience to, just participate as best you can. If you're driving, like be aware of that.
Don't close your eyes.
That's right. Don't close your eyes if you're driving. Well, maybe get as comfortable as you can. I invite you to close your eyes if that is safe and comfortable for you. Let's start by paying attention to the inside. See if you can just become aware of your breathing. Notice your breath wherever it's easiest for you. Going in and out at the nose, perhaps at the chest, or maybe at the belly. Just see if you can notice your breath and follow it. From the beginning of the in-breath to the end of the out-breath. If you wish, place your hand on your belly and feel the rhythm of your breath. We're just focusing on one thing right now. Follow the whole breath with your full attention from the beginning of the in-breath to the end of the out-breath. We're mindfully paying attention to what's inside. And usually I have a bell that I ring to end the practice.
That's great. Oh my gosh. That just even that little focus for less than a minute just brought my emotions into a more peaceful place than they had been before. I'm so excited for you to share this with us. I'm a big fan of breathing, and I have been for years. I have a little biofeedback machine that I clip to my ear, and then I practice what's called heart breathing. Yeah. So I've got to go to sleep breath. I've got a stress breath. I mean, I've got all these that I've been using through the years, and I just love it. And I've done it with my students before. We do it occasionally when we train teachers. We'll have them come in. We'll do like the starfish breathing or something. And I feel like it's the silence after a breath exercise is a fuller silence. I feel like the emotion's been regulated in the room. I feel like people are more present after you do a breathing exercise. I feel like it helps us kind of just relieve some of the noise in our heads.
For sure.
What do you see with students that you've been working with?
Just interesting. So I teach the Learning to Breathe program to the 6th graders, but I do teach mindfulness to all the grades in the school. So it is amazing to go into like a kindergarten classroom where maybe the energy level is really high, and then to be able to have them all sit down and they close their eyes and they focus on their breath. So even a kindergarten student can start to practice to do this mindfulness, and you feel the energy level just come down, and there's this calmness, and that's where now they're ready to learn, right? They're ready to listen and take in the lessons from their teacher. And so that's an immediate thing that you see when we go in and do this with the students. The students have been really open. Maybe at first there was a little, oh, what are we doing kind of a thing, but they've been really open to practicing. And then we'll debrief. We'll talk about how did we feel? What was the experience like for you? And they're always telling me, I feel calm. I feel peaceful. I feel like I can get on with my day. And they've also been practicing at home. I've had students tell me that one student I can remember shared that they were really upset about something. They were angry at home about something that had happened. They were able to use the mindfulness to help themselves to calm down and then to be able to think.
When they come into school, they bring all that emotion.
Yeah.
And anyone who's been around children knows that it's stressful just getting everybody together, getting, where's the this and the that. And sometimes kids come to school, elementary or secondary, and there's a lot of anxiety that they're carrying with them. I was watching a couple of the little videos on the Learning to Breathe website, and one of the specialists said stress impairs prefrontal function. And I thought that is, if we can just relieve that stress so that they can, learn to the best of their ability, what an advantage for those students.
Well, and even if you think about it, a lot of times we're always, as teachers and stuff, we're trying to manage their behavior. This is them managing their own behavior. We're teaching them skills. Like I tell them, I'm like, you are breathing all the time. Anytime you want to, you can become aware of your breathing. Let go of thoughts that are bothering you and become present right now. And that's something they can do anytime, anywhere. Nobody would even know that they were doing it.
If you were to look at it and say, well, why are we talking about mindfulness in school? Well, these are the reasons why. We're helping kids self-regulate. We're empowering them to just take control of a situation and not even make mention of it. They can just do this on their own, which is so powerful.
Let's talk for a minute about some things that any teacher could do in their classroom. What are some takeaways from this program that we could, in a minute or two, share with teachers that they could just start practicing with their own students?
Okay, so the 6th grade teachers at my school, from the very beginning, wanted to start implementing this because, you see right away how effective it can be. And so I have given them little scripts that are in the Learning to Breathe program that they can read through with their students. And any teacher could do that. There are also recordings that they could listen to. So this is something maybe at the beginning of the day when students are just coming in. One teacher does it before they're going to take a test to give them some time to,
Oh, could I give you an idea that a breathing technique that's an anti-stress one that I thought I would do with my students in my classroom before a test. And I got it from Dr. Andrew Huberman. You breathe in and you try to fill your lungs, but then you take a second quick breath, and he says it like you're getting a fullness to the breath in that you don't usually get. And then you expel the breath through your mouth, or I usually do it from my nose, for several seconds. So it's And so I would do that. I do that. In fact, we had a treacherous drive to Bozeman, Montana for Christmas this year. I don't know if my husband noticed I was in the seat next to him, but there were several times where I was just like doing that kind of anti-stress breathing, just trying to calm myself down. And I mean, quantitatively, I don't know what measurements you might have been able to tell in my stress level, but it felt like partly a way to distract my anxious brain, just by doing these. And then, in fact, I was trying not to be seen sometimes, so I would be like, trying to expel the breath. But I think to do 5 or 6 of those with students before a stressful test or quiz or activity, it's just a way of trying to help them believe that you have some control over the part of your body that seems like you don't.
Right.
And to say, yes, you do. And we can calm ourselves a little bit before we begin this test. So that's one of my favorite little breaths that any teacher could use. Another one, the starfish breathing, if anyone's interested, is, you invite students, if they would like to, hold their hand out. And as they trace the 5 fingers, you breathe in as they're going up a finger, and then you breathe out as you're going down. And you do it all together. But there's kind of that tactile piece, right, where you're kind of calming your own nervous system with touch. And then also the breathing that we're doing together, in synchronicity is kind of cool. And then by the time you get to the end of the last finger, boy, the energy in the room is full. Like, you can feel it. You can feel the attention. So those are a couple that I recommend. Anybody can do it really in any situation.
Our Davis School District's social emotional learning page has a lot of links on it to different videos and stuff. But even something as simple as telling students, okay, we're going to do mindful listening. And for 1 minute, see how many sounds you can hear in the room. That's great.
There's a one that my daughter's babysitter did with her little girls, which was a 5 senses breathing, and having them pay attention. What are you seeing? What are you smelling? Yeah. So that's kind of and they were 2 years old when, they kind of learned to do that.
And one thing that you did while we were there was the glitter jar exercise that I'd like you to talk us through and explain.
Okay. So the glitter jar is something that I introduced to at both of my schools. We did at both of my schools. And it's a way to kind of visualize what mindfulness is and what we're doing. We have a jar just with water, and then we put in 3 different shapes of glitter. And the glitter represents what's going on in our minds all the time. We're thinking thoughts, we have emotions, and then we have our actions or our behaviors or the urges to do the behaviors. These 3 things are going on all the time. And we put the glitter in, and I shake the jar up, and I kind of say, here's how we are starting our day. We might wake up and things are okay, but all things start going, you might have lost your shoes. You didn't get the breakfast that you wanted. You heard something disturbing on the news on the way. And by the time you get to school, everything, the emotions, the thoughts, the urges and to do behaviors, they're all mixed up. And then I set it down and I'm like, but what if we just take a minute to focus on our breathing and what will happen? And so then I lead them in the mindfulness of breath, and probably not even a minute, but all the glitter settles down to the bottom. And I make the point that has the glitter disappeared? Are our thoughts disappearing? Are our emotions disappearing? No, but they've settled down to the bottom, and now we can see clearly and we're ready to learn.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that any teacher can use.
For sure.
You can refer back to it all the time. Like it just was so powerful that, there's the glitter or the emotions and all the things that are running through swirling in our head and our body. And if we just take that minute just to calm down, it doesn't mean that they go away, but it gives us some peace.
Right. Right. And that can be, teachers could, I just got that off of the internet, anybody could do that. You could make a jar for your classroom, and then it's there as a reminder, and they can use it like as a brain break, watch the glitter settle when they need a minute. Yeah.
Well, this is such a fun curriculum that you get to share with, Bolton and Oak Hills, and is available to sixth graders. But I think we've made the larger point as well that there are resources on the SEL department page and just online to look around for teachers to find ways to help center the emotion, create mindfulness, and relax the anxiety and the swirl of things that their students might be feeling. So many things. We've always talked about teaching the whole child, but it feels like more than ever, we really are. We're really trying to support the whole student.
Well, and sometimes, like, as the teacher, like, you need this yourself, And when you've got these kids, maybe they're bouncing off the walls and you feel like things are in commotion, like just being able to do this for yourself and then maybe do an exercise to guide everybody back. And because one thing that you pointed out that I think is so valuable is like this really helps set the learning. Right. And when things are in commotion for everybody, like they're not thinking about the learning, they're thinking about whatever, And so getting everybody to center back on things, I think is really powerful.
All right, Shaunna, thank you so much for sharing your insight and this program with us. And it's so fun to talk about the different ways that we can support teachers, support ourselves, and support our students. Did you come with a gift to share, something that you're currently loving?
I did. So in the spirit of mindfulness, I've been trying to incorporate more mindfulness into my own life. And so I started teaching this in January, and I decided that I would like to have a yoga practice be part of my regular weekday. And I discovered YouTube, Yoga with Adrienne.
Oh, I've done yoga with Adrienne. Yeah, she's great. Yes.
She is wonderful. So I just have a yoga mat. I can do it at home. There's practices as short as 10 minutes if you do not have a lot of time. Yeah, you can do it for an hour, and it's great, especially for someone who's beginning a yoga practice. And then you are incorporating that mindfulness. You're building your own you're building your own resilience and your own inner strength.
Great. Thanks for sharing.
Well, I can't think of a better way to start your day or end your day than with yoga. I think it's a great way to wind yourself up or down. So thanks for sharing that with us and ending our episode with it. And as always, we'd like to thank our producer, Tom, for making us sound so good. This season, we're also putting video of the podcast on YouTube. You can continue listening on your favorite podcast app and also check out the video on our YouTube channel. Check the show notes for that link. And thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe and share the podcast with others. See you at school.